Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families, the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Oh, it sure is. Good morning, everybody. I'm just messing up. We fucked up the intro right away, and I got my F-bomb in the first sentence of the day, and I'm rhyming. Yay. I was having too much fun with Markus and Dennis in the green room earlier. We had some technical issues and then all sorts of stuff going on. But it's no matter what my issues are, what happens here with the network, it's not as bad as somebody believing in a flat Earth. I just want to say that. I really was not going to use a picture of a flat Earth. I was looking for something with fire, because there's a lot of fire going on right now, and California on fire, and a lot of problems. Fire is a problem. It's one of the notes here. It's not really a season anymore when it's year-round, right? Earth has four seasons because things change, but when fire happens all the time, which it is now, and we're defunding the ability of fire departments in our national parks and everything to actually do things about it. So that's really cool. That's really cool. So anyway, is there an echo? There is an echo. Yeah. Terrible echo. Look at that. Weird. See, I fucked it up even more. You guys got a great echo. Wonderful. Good morning, everybody. That's what makes this show so wonderful. On that note, looks like we may be cutting another day out of Awake anyway, because I've got many other things going on. And as you can tell, not really doing a good job keeping track of what's going on with production this morning. But we had a really good We the People on Wednesday, didn't we? That went well.
Oh, wow, yes.
That went well. Markus, oh, where are you? You're not even on a camera anymore. Hang on, guys. That's what happens when the whole thing goes crash. Bing. There you are. There's Markus has the face. Say good morning to Markus, everybody.
We're live. Yes, I was kind of distracted somehow. Yes, Wednesday was absolutely beautiful. Absolute great show. And yes, I think we all who saw it agree with me. I saw the comments in the video and in the YouTube. And yes, we think Alexandra rocks, and we wish her all the best for the 14th district of New York. And yeah, she will make it. I'm pretty sure. And
yeah,
I completely messed up my intro. Yes, I'd like to welcome everybody to Spice Up Your Life with Sean, Dennis, and Markus. And good morning, America.
With Sean? I'm Sean now?
John. It was a.
That's all right. Is that what Spicy's gonna do now that he's quit?
Yes, I was already wondering what he is his next target, because he cannot go back to the Navy, because we all know he can swim. Easter is far away, and yeah, and maybe he gets a job from Saturday Night Live and to replace Elizabeth McCarthy, and we'll see. Melissa McCarthy, sorry.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Good morning, Dennis.
The world now is open for Sean Spicer.
I know. With such a great resume. How you doing, Dennis?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful start in the day. I'm pretty fine, and hey, I'm short. Let's keep it short. Let's start with the show.
Oh, very nice. Wow. Spicy's going to the Vatican? Why would he do that, Stock? Is there more bushes to hide around? Is he gonna be one of the Vatican guards? Maybe he'd like that job. new uniform.
Didn't Trump not allow that he should visit the Vatican? It makes sense. If it's not a joke, it makes sense that his first way would be to the Vatican.
Good point. Good point. I mean, why not? Why not? Go to all the places you weren't allowed to go when you were part of Team Trump. So we're going to play a clip from the We the People, right, with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is a badass, a remarkably well-spoken badass for her youth. She's 27 years old, speaks better than most people my age. So I was impressed. And I really hope she kicks the shit out of Joe Crowley in New York's District 14. We need somebody in there that's not just taking money and handing it to family. Seems to be a trend in politics today. Our lives on the line. So next week, I got other events, guys. I gotta get through these events. Next week, we got Jeff Erdmann. He is running in Minnesota's 2nd District against another guy who's there, who's not doing anything for us. I think he's a Republican. I don't remember his name. We just got to get rid of him and put Jeff Erdmann in there. All right? So we'll have Jeff Erdmann to talk with next week. And then Our Lives on the Line on 7/29. That is a event that's happening nationally. And this is part of the... It's really interesting what's going on here. This is a lot of groups organized together. There's this big coalition. We're going to talk about that. A very important coalition that has occurred, a unification that we learned about really from Alexandria on Wednesday. I was like, I signed the petition because Nina Turner told me to, but I really didn't read much about what it was. And she schooled us on it, told us what was going on. It's like the most exciting news there is, right? You would be willing to listen to this whole show in echo just to hear this news, or click the links in the description, because all the links are in the description. So if you find me annoying, just look at the links and go there. That's really why I put them there. Just come here every day and go find your information. You don't need to hear it from me. Also, Dennis is going to be functioning more as a comment mod. I forgot to talk about that because I'm not really doing a good job with production or addressing the audience anymore. So Dennis is going to spend more time paying attention to that, so I don't have to. Isn't that nice? Not that I don't want to. I love you all, but come on, I can't even open the show right. So let's let somebody else do that. And then look, I just did that. So the top story, everybody. The top story is oh, you know what? Actually, before we do top story, Dennis. So what's going on with the audience now?
They're saying hello to everyone and so on. It's just the beginning. So calm yourself. I will get some questions and informations and so on that we will probably adding into the show. So yeah.
You don't even. You see, there's no question. You don't even have anything yet.
There is.
No.
I'm sorry.
You're slacking on the job already. Jesus.
There's only.
Fuck you, John.
This is going well. This is.
There's Ninetail Cosmic Fox, and he asked, where can I submit a topic for pseudo-intellectuals? My keen interest is the morals of economics. Where can you send it? Do you have an email address for Ashley directly, or does it go to info?
Just send it to. Well, I'd have to add him to info. Do we have any of the pseudos in the chat this morning? Do we have? Here's the best way is to show up at the Saturday Awake show. Because that's usually when we get Chris Ferguson and Paul Chaitlin in the hangout, and they're hanging. So that's the best way to be like bug them. Hey, I want you guys to talk about this. Believe me, they'll talk about anything as long as people tell them they want to hear them talk, right? So that's the best way.
Exactly.
Really? You want to hear us talk about that? Okay, we'll do that. That's seriously. So hit them up on Saturday, or you could send an email to info@Bernie2016TV, Bernie2016.TV. It's actually an email address that functions, and I may see it, and Laura may see it, and Markus may see it, and one of us will bug them about it. But you're better off just doing that. All right. Good morning, everybody. I really didn't say good morning to everybody because I was doing a bad job opening the show. Jupiter, Janine, Stock, Nine Tails, Jilly Love, how you doing? Robert, Springfield, wonderful to see you all. Marka, how are you? Carol. Metalhead, Cat, Paula, good to see you. Keith, how are you? Barbara, good morning. Melissa. Mark K. Spear, how are you doing, sir? Thank you for dropping by. You know what's happening? with me in democracy locally is because I'm not going anywhere. They're showing up at my door, which is fine. Persistent. Cool. It's actually really cool. We're getting to know the neighbors. Wednesday, while we were doing We the People, Jim Gurley and his wife came to the house. And normally that would be a short exchange, as Lori would be like, John's busy doing a show and I'm working. Nice to meet you all, and bye. Right? And it was 45. They stayed for 45 minutes. They talked about all the plants and trees, and Lori gave them some figs. That's cool. That wouldn't really normally happen when we were living in the suburbs. There's just something different about where we are. There's many things different about where we are, including some racist assholes, but we're going to get to those in a little while. But anyway, good morning, everybody.
And as you mentioned it, today there is a meeting. It is in the Salty Dog.
What? Where? Who? With what?
In Corvallis. Corvallis allies have a meeting today at the Salty Dog. And if we have viewers or listeners from your place, they all know where to find them today.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Appreciate that information. I do want to talk more about what's going on locally, and that's one of the reasons why we're working with various groups to put on a weekly show, right? Progressive Democratic Party of Oregon is going to start a show probably in 2 weeks. We got to get through a dry run first. And Nancy Greenman was here yesterday. We were talking about how we're going to move forward with the Lynn County Democrats and what we're going to do there. And it's all sorts of stuff going on. But the big, huge news that I've been trying to get to, seriously, stop. Guys, stop just interrupting me and stuff. Here's the big news. This is what Alexandria was talking about. She was talking about this, the Summer for Progress petition, and I will be putting it better on the screen here in a moment. There we go. This. What is this? This is the unity we have been looking for, or at least the beginning of that. This is the coalition. There are a ton of groups on this. They really should have represented this better. No offense to the way they should have said, this is a unification first, and then explain what it is about. But here, the point of this is that they want everybody to sign this petition. We want our Democrats to sign this petition and be holding this petition. We want them to support these initiatives moving forward. Medicare for all, free college, tuition, workers' rights, women's rights, voting rights, environmental justice, criminal justice, and immigration rights, tax on Wall Street. And they all have different House bills, bill numbers, and all that are moving forward. They're calling this the People's Platform. But look at the groups that are involved. This is the important part, everybody. This is what makes you go, ooh, okay? Our Revolution, Democratic Socialists of America, Democracy for America, Progressive Democrats of America, All of Us, Common Defense, National Nurses United, Working Families Party, Millennials for Revolution, Women's March, Labor for Our Revolution, People for Bernie. That's a big one right there. Good Jobs Nation, Young Progressives Demanding Action, Healthcare Now, Brand New, Congress Justice Democrats, Food and Water Action, Fight for 15, and there are actually many other groups that are jumping onto this that just aren't on this list, including the crazy fucks at Uphill Media. This is phenomenal, and we're working with many of those groups. Which we're a part of this. That's unity. There's no more, well, I don't want to be a Justice Democrat because Brand New Congress. Blah, blah, blah. This is no more infighting. We're all grown up. Time to get together. The Rebel Alliance has arrived. We're organizing forces. We're working together. Brand New Congress and Justice Democrats are bringing forth candidates. We're putting them on shows. This is how it works. Our revolution is taking those candidates, giving them phone banking tools, the same badass phone banking tools that allowed Bernie Sanders to kick serious ass across the country. It's the same phone banking tools we will be able to use for our candidates, where I can phone bank for anyone as long as I follow what's good. It's a beautiful thing. You guys, I got a link into it. It was so amazing. We did this live. We actually did a phone bank-a-thon, and I will be doing phone bank-a-thons again because they're awesome. And they get people involved. We are putting our tools together. The force is here. It's badass. It's badass. Yeah. I'm just, Markus is shaking his head.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not grumpy. No, I'm absolutely excited to see this, because this was what Sam Ronan had in mind, what we all had in mind, to get finally not only the movement as a finger, but as a strategical fist to fight for our targets.
Yes. Chad, are you saying what they? These they. Summer of progress. It's badass. It's badass. I'm happy. Just back to the cover card for a second. Just to contrast things. While we are excited about unification and moving forward and democracy happening, and we're seeing it happen, and people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just impress the shit out of me and make me real hopeful for us, right? Listen, somebody who speaks fluently about things like science and history and understand
and the energy,
Yes, the energy.
Wow.
Absolutely. In the meantime, we have a growing number of human beings on this planet that think the planet might be shaped more like that. That made me laugh so hard. That's why this picture is the cover, is that they think that there are people that think our Earth is this or something similar to this. There's other pictures on this that are even more funny. Where's the one? There we are being carried on a turtle. There's elephants. There's kind of like the broken snow globe. Not really sure what's going on here.
Picture.
What?
Beautiful picture.
It's a beautiful picture that people think is actually accurate. It's just this is what we face when not everybody is at least up to some standard level of education. Some standard level of education. It just makes me laugh so hard. It's a Russian blog talking about some Arab. If you click on the link, Russian guy talking about an Arab guy who apparently spent 5 years researching this, presented his material, and freaked out a bunch of other scientists somewhere. Maybe because they were laughing too hard, or they thought the pictures were pretty. I don't know.
I think what you show us here is completely fake, and of course this is the Earth is not flat, and everybody knows it's hollow inside.
Right. And, okay, so Ninetails is saying that the turtles thing is supposed to be representative of flat Earth. It's a cool symbolic thing. It's just not accurate, right? But hey, whatever. I just think it's funny. So moving on, so that was the reason for the card. Just here we are in the middle of a renaissance, sort of, or maybe the beginning of an early renaissance, where we try to enlighten people, pull them away from flat Earth, but we're facing the growing movement of ignorance that really likes it that way. There's an animalistic part of humanity that's like, let's just go back to dumber. Dumber's good. Not a lot of thinking. Go back to dumb. Right? That's the ape in us. We're fighting evolution. It's amazing. It's amazing how much we will fight our own survival. I don't want to live. I want to cook on my own rock and drink toxic water. That's what we do as a species. Fuck you, yes. Universe. I don't want to explore you. Anyway.
And to what you are saying perfectly fits the photo I saw, I think, in the morning. I think the Philippines or Indonesia, where they are slaughtering now the dolphins by thousands, and I think, and in these moments, I think, and we agree on this point that we are worth to get extinguished from this planet if this nonsense doesn't stop very, very soon.
Yeah, yes. One day we will get a big fuck you from Mother Earth.
Yeah. One day,
it is already
we're there right now.
Yeah.
We're there right now.
I mean the check, the bill, the really the extinction. That will be one day. But at the moment, she's teasing us and saying, "Hey guys, you have some examples how things can get worse and so on." But we humans are stupid, so therefore, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's happening a lot sooner, and a lot of scientists now are saying it's happening a lot sooner than everybody would like to be comfortable with. And Stockpost, I see that you're saying there are scientists and engineers there are engineers and doctors in that group who believe the Earth is flat. Are any of them planetary scientists? Have any of them looked through a telescope? Have any of them seen the moon? Have any of them got a background in physics? And who's the director of the Housing and Urban Development? Ben Carson. He's a doctor. So really your statement is irrelevant. I have a college level degree in physics. That's enough to tell me that I have eyeballs. I don't really need anything else than that. So I don't know. The fact that there are doctors willing to be in that group doesn't mean anything. That's what I'm saying. Are you a believer in flat Earth, Stock, or are you just laughing and making fun of it? I know you're not. I know you're not a believer in that. I know who you are. We've had conversations. Drop links, though, to these people. I want to see their references. I want to see their degrees, if you know who any of these people are. Yeah, I figure they're all... I know. Bob's your uncle. Why did CNN reporter cross the road to cover fake news on the other side? That's very cute. It's not just CNN. Come on now. Although I will admit Fox News does have more credibility these days simply because of CNN and other places. But come on now. Really. Really. Tell John to play the Carl Sagan Earth is Round. Mitch McConnell is proof of Turtle Island. Wait, so you believe... Is it just easier for me to believe in flat Earth? Is that what it is? Just easier that way? Why would they allow all these people to become doctors and engineers if they believe the Earth is flat? I don't know. That's a good question, Stock. I don't know. Is that your new logic argument? Because they're allowed to be doctors and there's credence to their beliefs? I have another one for you. How do we allow anybody who believes in imaginary gods and books written by human beings who are obviously attempting to control other human beings with archaic dogmas and ridiculousness, why do we allow those people to have anything to do with our sciences at all? Why aren't they banned? Why aren't our sciences limited to those who understand atheism and practice it? I don't understand at all. If you want to think about exclusionaries right there, I mean, that to me would be the biggest one. I don't want a scientist believing in God. That's like the ultimate cognitive dissonance. I can't handle reality, so I'm going to use comfort in archaic beliefs like my fucking knuckle-dragging ancestors, and I'm going to pursue science, and somehow I'm going to resolve those two. But when it comes down to it, if I believe in God more than science, Einstein, I'm going to fuck up my own calculations, delay the future of science by several decades simply because I just don't want to fuck with God? We already know what happens when you combine those two. So when will we reach a point in society when we say, if you believe in a religion, you're archaic, you're a savage, you're undereducated and ignorant. And everybody out there who believes in God right now and says, that's terrible. How dare you say that? I mean, I believe in Buddha, or I believe in Muhammad, I believe in Jesus, and I swear none of those beliefs ever affect anything I do, anything with science and everything. How can you possibly say that? Are you a scientist? You telling me those beliefs don't affect the observations you make and the way you do your reports? I call bullshit. I call the Heisenberg principle. If you're a scientist, you're aware of that one. I'm just saying. If I were going to make some exclusions, it would be that. You don't get to believe in imaginary bullshit and be a scientist of credibility. How about that one? Thoughts on that? Anybody?
Yes.
So I'm just about ready to go to Dennis, new chat moderator, and he fucking leaves. What's up with this?
Okay, let's wait until he's back. Very, very interesting point, and I think you know my point about this, and I think that humankind is hopefully in a state of in a continuous state, even if we don't see it today, of development, and that the day will come, and hopefully we will see this day before everything collapses, which will not overpower, but make gods not important anymore, because there are other certainties, and there is more science. And for me personally, it is always, if we are talking about a creator, then I have to ask who created the creator, and there it starts and it ends. For me, there is no religion which is based on monotheism. It was needed maybe during the centuries and somehow to keep people socialized. But what is sold to us as I'm talking about Christianity is it was taken from everywhere. It was made fitting to Germany and to other places, and the message I cannot. The message is for me not important. Let me put it like this.
All right. I was really paying attention to comments, so I have no idea what you just said.
I know. I see it. Shall I repeat it? Repeat this?
No,
John?
No, because the audience heard you, and that's all that matters. And I'm sure they're going to agree with you. And I'm going to say thank you for that input, Marcus. And I'm going to move on.
Thank you for listening, John.
Actually, what I was seeing in chat was a lot of people agreeing with what I was saying in stock, right? And then also telling me it's time to fire somebody. Stock telling me fire his ass. That'd be you, Dennis, for walking away right when I was going to call you on questions. So I can't fire anybody.
Sorry, but I have living with my brother here, and he's just came back, and I have to tell him something. Sorry, and I thought you would be in your segment, and I could leave for 2 minutes. Sorry, I did this.
It's okay. It's okay.
No.
I can't fire anybody, actually, because anybody that actually shows up here I'm lucky enough to have that. So nobody gets fired, but I am going to cut your pay. So,
again?
Yeah. Dennis is going down from 0 to 0.
No, sorry, guys, but this is something, no.
You can't take a cut and pay?
No.
All right. Anyway.
Okay, Springfield, I take it. I only express my opinion. I accept you, fuck you, and it's okay for me.
Why am what am I ignorant about? All right.
Why would you leave Springfield? It makes no sense. We are talking about it. If a discussion is not if you don't feel that you cannot discuss it, it makes no. I don't understand why you want to go. Please tell us.
Yes, I am too. Sorry, I'm reading, going back and reading what was going on there. Sorry to offend. But then again, I'm really not. I'm not.
We are no popes. We are not spreading our religion, not believing in religion. It is everybody's decision, and this is my thought on it, and I don't see why it should offend you.
Well, true. Yeah. Kat, I know that you're saying we need to pay attention to you too. That's what Dennis is here for. So I'm hoping Dennis is looking at comments right now, because it's not working.
Yeah, I'm looking.
He's looking. Dennis sounds so sad.
I'm a little bit pissed about it. Let's move on.
All right. All right. So look, we're not even through like the third thing. This is going on. This is what I was talking about on the 29th. Our Lives on the Line, Iowa. But it's also happening it's national. We're thinking there's some going on in D.C., and I don't know who the speakers are. But they're not doing an outside event in D.C., which I guess Scott says is a little strange. They're doing it inside somewhere. Maybe they couldn't get permitting or whatever. But there'll be speakers. I'm hoping we can get a stream from various places, and it's going to be on a Saturday, and we'll run long, and there probably won't be an awake, because we'll just start with whatever this is, right? Or we'll bake the awake into the rally that we make. Anyway. So be a part of that. Get involved. Look for that. Go to Our Revolution. It's part of this, which is Our Lives on the Line. Our lives are on the line. And it's all about healthcare, because we're not done yet. Okay, we're not actually done with the whole healthcare thing, even though it really seems right now like Lil Mitch has lost it and they can't pass anything. We're not that far off still, but we will get there. Before we talk about that, I just want to show you this, because except that's a horrible picture. This is I've been talking about this place, but I want you guys to go here and sign up if you haven't and get involved. This is Countable. Countable.us. And it is basically what Place a Vote was in a different way, but it gives you a great way to see what bills are being voted on, see what your representatives are voting on and how they feel about things. It allows you to tell them how you feel about things. And it gives you access to call your representatives, call your congressperson, make them a video, send them it's a pretty impressive set of things that you can do. You go there, you log in. Do you want to tell them this? Do you want to tell them that? How do you want to deliver that message? Do you want to phone call these people? Right? And if you really want to make a statement, then it's got basically a social forum there where you can, I feel yes on this, and I feel yes because of this, damn it, and let everybody know. So get involved, because I think the more people we can find getting involved with this and build this up as a democratic network of discussion, the more chance we have of taking one of these examples that's floating around and using it as a national system or part of a national system later. So, anyway. McCain's brain. Oh, poor John McCain.
Yeah. Springfield Progressive unsubscribed.
Okay,
he
thank
said
you.
In the chat, so yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that was good. We've pissed off people before. Apologies, Spring. And if it was over religion, I don't know what to say. Anything else going on in chat, Dennis?
No, they're discussing the whole Springfield situation at the moment.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Yeah. Cannabis would help McCain. I'm glad he's got health care. Just saying. He's got pretty good health care there, and we pay for it. No, not that I'm not being mean or anything. I'm really glad he's got health care and that he was able to get that brain surgery. Because I know there are a lot of people in the United States of America that are dead already because they couldn't afford that brain surgery. But we were able to afford it for John McCain. Right? As a military person, he probably gets those benefits, as he should. That's a socialized form of health care because we foot the bill for every fucking veteran there is, which is good. We should. Why can't we just pick up the whole tab for everybody, right? That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Instead of F-35s, more health care for us, for more John McCains, right? So, pretty glad he's doing really good. However, it changes the game a little bit on the Republican Party because I don't know when he's coming back, and they need his votes. Because even though we like John McCain, I'm sure he's going to vote for whatever bullshit health care they push through. He's still a Republican. So I can have sympathy for McCain as a human being and still think he's an asshole as a Republican. Because prior to Trump, if you go back 6 years, McCain was considered a pretty radical Republican. So think about it. There's this article by David Horsey. I was going to use the cover. It's a pretty good cover, but I've been using a lot of his stuff lately. This is in the long run, failure to repeal Obamacare may not hurt the Republicans. All right? Even though, God, look at that picture. Isn't that just like a dream? Just little Mitch, cannonball. I'll just leave it at that. So we're going to scroll down to the bottom of this article if we can do that. And we're going to read, oh, stop with your ads here, LA Times. I just want to read you the last bit of what he's got to say here because it's important. All right. And it is, he's talking about what the Republicans still have in terms of their voter base, which is more powerful than you might think. All right. All of their districts, for the most part, have been gerrymandered to work really well for them. So that's the first thing we have to deal with. Secondly, poor people are not a Republican constituency, no matter how much we think they are. All right. The GOP's most fervent voters are those who lean toward the idea that the wealthy deserve to keep what they have, and that those who are down on their luck probably brought it on themselves and need to learn some tough life lessons. That sadly is the truth. Third, the elderly and working class. Voters who support Republicans but would be hit hard by the GOP healthcare cuts have proved to be gullible folk who vote against their own interest in election after election. Maybe this time, as their family and friends die, they'll pull their heads out of their ass. But typically, that working class voter has no problem being fucked over again and again and again, as long as they hear the right words coming out of that suit and tie. Freedom. Freedom, Second Amendment, guns, freedom. Jesus. That about covers it. Republicans know how to stir up these people with scary stories about immigrants and terrorists and big government. And the LA Times really, really wants me to do this. And I'm sorry. This is another reason why we support sites like reader-supported news. Lastly, the GOP's inability to deliver on its big campaign promise to junk the Affordable Care Act has a big upside. Republicans can continue to flog Obamacare as the campaign issue without having to answer for their devastating effects on their own health care bill would have. Failure to repeal Obamacare may actually turn out to be the best thing that could have happened to them. Think about that. They can just move on. Oh, well, it didn't happen. You hear them all using the words that they've been using before. It's the Democrats. They've got all the control. They got all the control, but they will blame Democrats as the obstructionists for this. Not the 3 Republican women that voted against it, not the other Republicans that voted against it, not the throngs of American people showing up pissed off about it. They'll blame the Democrats. That message will work with their gullible base. They'll raise all the money they need to, and they'll still have a fighting force in 2018. So don't think for 1 minute that AdBlock Plus. You don't understand. I don't have access. Let me explain that. I don't get access to these sites and their content when you use an ad blocker. Okay, so that's another reason why this show is showing its limits. Let's put it that way. There's a reason why sites like TYT and other networks that have time and a lot of staff to do these things take the time to build their own graphics, which is remarkably time consuming and a pain in the ass. Laura Livengood and I did it with the slideshow as an example. Okay? I just scroll through web pages. If I really wanted to do this right, I'd create individual graphics for each story and I'd show them with you. That takes time. Just to talk about that for a minute. Here's a. You got something in the chat, Dennis?
No, we're discussing the thing about beliefs and science and so on. This discussion didn't end, and yeah, this is something you hit the nail on it because we have so many views here and opinions in our audience, so they're trying to explain each other what they believe and what their positions are, and so on and so on. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're having a good discussion. I'm glad they are. Thank you, guys. Sorry this feels like a weird detachment today. We did kind of shift things around, and like 5 minutes before we went live, I had a technical issue which kind of threw me off game. So, and there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of things happening locally. What's up, Marcus?
Yeah, and I'm happy that we could clear it with Springfield Progressive, and I hope that everything is all right now. And I'm happy that that she will stay in chat. You know. Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for working on that in chat. Kamala Harris, Rand Paul have pushed forth a bill to shrink jails by reforming bail, which I think is a great idea. The Constitution says that you can't jail a person for being poor. But that's exactly what you do when you charge a kid $20,000 bail for stealing $25 worth of something. That's and this is happening all over the country. Money's just being used to throw people away, destroy their lives. It costs us $38 million every day to imprison nonviolent defendants, and that adds up to $14 billion a year. Who do you think gets that $14 billion? Private contractors and corrupt politicians. So they put forth this Pretrial Integrity and Safety Act to encourage states to reform or replace the bail system. It's a nice start to restorative justice, to some kind of justice system that's not based on punitive, knuckle-dragging consequences. I mean, that's no way to treat human beings. This is not the Middle Ages. It's just amazing. So I don't think that bill has a chance in hell of getting through our current administration, because there are just too many politicians that make too much money on that private prison system. We spend more money on a prisoner than it would cost to send him to fucking Harvard. Why can't we just send them all to Harvard and then have them all take over the fucking government? I'm all for that. They'd be less corrupt, less vile than what we got now, in my opinion. This will make you feel good, everybody. This is one pissed off woman yelling at Mitch McConnell. Although he's not there because he'd be too afraid to be there. But you know.
Here to get a job. We are here to make sure that you do what you were elected to do. As I look at this plaque with your name on it, it says that you represent the people of Kentucky. And I happen to know that the people of Kentucky will suffer if this health care bill passes. Right. You may be okay. Your friends may be okay. But the people who put you in office will suffer because of this bill. Right. It is time to stop calling God by other names when you really want to call God capitalism. Well, it is time to stop cloaking your greed in religious language. Right. I'm here to tell you that there ain't nothing right about the religion that's happening in these halls. Right. This should be where we come for help, and yet we are coming crying out on behalf of the people to stop some of the most egregious legislation that we have seen in a long time. If you can turn your backs on 22 additional people, don't tell me that you are pro-life. If you can turn your backs on people who are suffering from conditions that will no longer be able to be treated, don't tell me you are pro-life.
They cut her off, but that's pretty badass right there.
It ended much too early.
It did. She's pretty badass. Man, again, imagine if religion wasn't even involved. Imagine if the GOP couldn't claim to be the religious right. Imagine if we actually had separation of church and state, which will never be possible as long as we have church. You realize that. It'll never happen. As long as we have God-fearing Christians in our government, you will never see an actual separation of church and state. It can't happen because they are Christians in our government. As a former Christian. Don't mean to beat the religious thing again, but I'm going to beat it again. I feel that religion is one of the reasons we aren't in the stars right now. Catholicism can be blamed for the fucking Dark Ages. Catholicism and one meteorological event. That had they been studying science instead of repressing it, they would have known what the fuck was going on anyway. There is nothing good in religion that can't be done without it. Somebody tell me that. There is nothing as human beings that we can't do without religion that you currently do with religion. What we can do without it is a lot less killing of each other. That is the only thing it actually brings to the table, is division. Everything else is just about not being an asshole and comforting yourself about the idea that you're mortal. If you can't do those two things without it, it says something about you. My personal opinion. Let's move on to somebody who's talking about all the issues. And I just got to say thank you, Darcy, for putting these together. You do a great job with this. I love your on-screen text. I love what you put up there for that. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez delivering a strong message for the Democratic Party. Actually, she delivered a strong message throughout the entire hour. I believe I spoke the least in this interview that I've ever spoken. She was incredible. Not that every guest we've had has been great because they don't have their head up their ass. They're not beholden to money or corporate interest, and they have the issues of the people in mind. That's all of our guests, right? We don't really interview anybody else. But she's just on fire. And when you get this kind of passion, it excites you, right? It's like the Bernie passion. You're like, Jesus, there it is. There's that fireball. And she's going to take that energy and she's going to go into New York's 14th district. And if we can put this person in a position of power, look at what we bring. Look at what she brings in power, right? That's what's important. We reap what we sow. What we put in office is what we get. So if we put jackass in office, we get jackass. We put this woman in power. I bet we're going to get shit done, you know?
The Democratic Party is supposed to be the champion of the working class. I do not know what is so hard to understand about that. We are champions of the working class, which means we advance single-payer health care, a living wage, access to women's health, a renewable energy economy by 2028, mass infrastructure investment, including information infrastructure, which includes gigabit internet across the country. We need proper infrastructure. We need proper jobs. We need healthcare. We need free public college tuition and vocational education for Americans all across this country, because as our economy develops, our educational requirements develop. We did not start this country on K through 12 education. Nationalized high school wasn't even fully fleshed out until the 1950s. And so we're here another 60 years later, and we're going to have to add on and make a national program and make it nationally accessible to educate oneself even further and deeper according to the demands of our economy. It's part of a normal course of history. And I think it's so important to emphasize that this is not radical, this is not new. What we are doing is that we are advocating for the issues that the majority of Americans agree upon. The majority of Americans agree that we need to do something about climate change. The majority of Americans, 60%, support government federalized health care. The majority of Americans are supportive of increased access to public college and vocational education. We're not trying to push anybody anywhere. We're trying to represent the nation as it is and the people and their beliefs and will as they are.
That's a good message. That's way better than we're working on it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't understand how we can be 7 months into this administration and not have any idea of a message. I mean, come on.
Can you hear her saying that stuff on CNN in a national debate?
Oh yeah, I would love this.
Wouldn't that be
and I would like to see the face of Wolf Blitzer then.
That's funny. That's funny. I think Wolf would just have. You'd have that. So you're saying that
maybe he just goes down like this because he loses everything, which makes him stand there, because like all air is gone.
That's funny. Oh, Dennis.
She's the perfect example what a candidate should be.
Yes,
she
absolutely.
Was knowledgeable. She was compassionate. She all the time included her community. So yet she has an eye for her community. So I wish every candidate would be a little bit like her, but all the candidates we have, or we the people, have some similarities.
Absolutely.
In these points.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well said.
Chet agrees with it that she's badass.
Nice. Yeah, she is. That was really cool. We're developing a nice format with this, and I appreciate that. I mean, listen. I mean. You guys are seeing it pretty plain. the Awake show is suffering as I spend more time with other shit. Not that it was ever the pinnacle of fantasticness. It was just for us to hang out and chat. But it's suffering as I spend more time on We the People, because the truth is, you know, she was fantastic, but I put a lot of hours into making sure I had the right questions to ask. And before the show, her and I were talking about, you know, different things, 90C and way to go. I mean, it worked out very well. I put more effort into that. I think it showed, right? I think it showed all around with everybody involved in that production. That's what I want to see more of. So I want to book more guests on that. I think it would be beneficial if we were doing that twice a week instead of once. The question is, can I find a full crew to do it twice a week? Because that's a lot to ask. So I'd be willing to put in the time to do it. I think it's more. I mean, here, let me back up. Let me say this. I think it's more important for democracy that we interview these candidates than we have the Awake show. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I may take out Friday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's supposed to be casual. I know. Exactly, Metalhead. Awake is supposed to be casual, and We the People are supposed to be serious. And as long as you guys are okay with that, then cool. It's just sometimes I'm not even okay with that. I'm like, Jesus,
John. In the end, you are the guy who has to carry the load. You know, we can do only minor stuff. You are the guy who has to carry the load, and you have to decide. And you know, I love this show, and I can absolutely understand what the importance of what's going on with the We the People show. You know, and
it's gaining.
It's no question for me. You know.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, and well, so addressing a couple things. Actually, Springfield. Why don't I do a Frack Off Friday show? Well, that's going to be done by Sandy Shellis if whatever's, I mean, she's just experiencing so much personal tragedy right now that we have to wait. It's just, the timing is horrific. I don't know if you guys know Environmental Coffee House, Sandy Shellis. I brought her into Bernie 2060 TV. I talked to her about, hey, why don't you put together a climate show, because I don't have the time. She's got a crew working with her. They were going to build their first episode, and then all this shit went down with her husband and the accident, and then tornadoes and trees, and it's just been terrible. So that is the goal. I do want to do a climate-focused show, but I don't have the time to make it. I can just broadcast it. I could produce it. If Sandy can get her team together once Sandy has taken care of her family and her life, which is what's going on. So absolutely, that's you know, one of the things definitely want to do, and doubling up on We the Peoples, or even finding somebody else to be the host would just, I could do a lot more with that, but that's you know, got to be somebody who's got the kind of time to dedicate to that, right? Doing the new things with Larry Taylor. There's going to be a Sunday weekly show that's going to be all about progressive politics. It's going to be Larry hosting and those guys, and it'll be totally different, right? We got the pseudos going on Sunday evening, which is really developing its own kind of flow, and I'm liking where that's going. So, and all of you guys are so important to that. Just thank you for being here. Yeah, I know Jupiter. She wants to start as soon as possible, but we've got a lot of stuff to work out, and thank you, Barbara. Appreciate that. How about an engineering solutions day for fixing current problems of the country and what we would the best approach to it? Kevin, I think that's a great idea. Do you have time to make it? I mean, that's there. You think about what it would take to put that together once a week, and let me know if you want to make that happen. I'm all over that. Right? That's how I want to operate. I will facilitate what groups will come together and make. That's until we're all full up, and then we'll see what we do. Who knows? Kevin is such a meanie. Why? Why is Kevin a mean? What are you talking about? I love the show, Kara. Oh, I love the show. Its range of topics. It's fascinating. I learn from everyone, and because we care about the same things to make our world a better place. Thank you. Thank you for that. What were you saying, Dennis? I
said, just joking around. So.
Oh, okay.
Nothing really important with Kevin.
All right. I appreciate it. All right. This has got to be one of my favorite pictures ever. I got to show you this. This is the president of the United States of America, looking like a little 5-year-old boy on the fire truck. This is the Republican. This is cute. It's Republicans going through the 5 stages of grief with their health care bill.
If we don't repeal and replace Obamacare, we will destroy American health care forever. Everybody's got to be covered.
Universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody, and I'm not going to cut Medicare or Medicaid.
We will be replacing it rapidly.
It will be essentially simultaneously, probably the same day, could be the same hour.
By some estimates, 10 million people could lose their coverage. Is that acceptable to you?
Look, what matters is that we're lowering the cost of health care and giving people access to affordable health care plans.
You have the Democrats who truly have become obstructionists. With no Democrat support, we couldn't quite get there. We had the greatest bill in mankind. We would not get one Democrat vote.
There's the Democrat blame.
We're negotiating with everybody. It's a big, fat, beautiful negotiation. That was my term. I want to see, and I speak from the heart. That's what I want to see. I want to see a bill with heart. Inaction is not an option. And frankly, I don't think we should leave town unless we have a health insurance plan. We're going to get this passed through the Senate. I feel so confident.
I regret that the effort to repeal and immediately replace will not be successful.
We will need time to reflect on how we got to this moment, what we could have done to do it better.
Nobody knew that health care could be so complicated.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than Obamacare is the law of the land.
Just let Obamacare fail. We're not going to own it. I'm not going to own it. I can tell you the Republicans are not going to own it.
No, they generally don't take responsible for anything. they don't own anything.
I liked when you said, I want to see a bill with a heart. And I was waiting for the end, which would be to tear it off.
Right. Because, hearts make good targets and they're really good eating. I love eating hearts.
Yes, with French fries.
Yes, your steak
and
with
don't
ketchup.
Don't forget the ketchup.
Right. Do we even talk about that? I know you're referencing that where Donnie was in France and they went to some tourist trap and he was eating a steak with ketchup on it, and it doesn't get any more. Just really, jeez. Why don't somebody slap that kid a bologna sandwich? Tell him to go home. They have started cutting money from Obamacare. Yes, Stock.
And Stock had also a point from Trump. He appointed a guy who thinks science is junk into a position who's mainly working in the science field. So therefore, you see how fucked up Trump is. So yeah.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the USDA guy.
Yeah.
He's not actually a scientist. It's just USDA. You don't need any science for that. Right, we know how plants and animals work, and it's all right. We got it down. He's really there just to be a representative, not to know anything. Not to know anything. You don't have to know anything to run the government. Proof positive. Look at our government. Doesn't mean it's going to run well, but you can run it. Here's. The next piece is Al Franken. This is a touching story by Al Franken. Keep in mind, Al Franken knows how to be on camera, and Al Franken is an actor, comedian, right? So he knows how to deliver this story about emotional appeal. It's a great story, and it's true, and this is a lot of American stories about, Paul. So, but remember when you hear this, when he says, "This is why I'm a Democrat," that he also really screwed over Bernie Sanders and worked for Hillary Clinton. And anybody that, when it's not about who he voted for in the end, it's about the positions he truly supports. And I question his democratic values, but that's just me. Right now, because of the way things sit, Al Franken's a pretty decent looking Democrat, but I'm fairly certain he's part of that elite group of Democrats. Just listen to the story. It'll at least be inspirational in that sense.
I'm a Democrat because I grew up in Minnesota, in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, and my dad didn't graduate high school. He was a printing salesman. I grew up my brother and I and my parents grew up we grew up in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. I felt like the luckiest kid in the world because I was growing up middle class, at the height of the middle class, in America, in Minnesota, in St. Louis Park.
Oh, look, they're going to make us watch an ad. That's new. Right in the middle of the thing.
I thought I could do anything. And I think that people don't feel like that anymore, and for very good reason. And I think that's why we lost this election, because there's so many people angry about 40 years of that. My wife, who I met my freshman year of college, she grew up very differently. Her father, a decorated World War II vet, died in a car accident when she was 18 months old. She had a 3-month-old sister then, and 3 older siblings. And her mom was 29 years old and widowed with 5 kids. And she had a high school education. And they barely made it. They made it because of Social Security survivor benefits. Sometimes they were hungry. Sometimes they turned the heat off in the winter. This is Portland, Maine. But they made it. And every one of the girls in the family, the 4 girls, went to college. And they went to college on combinations of scholarships and Pell Grants. And at that time, a full Pell Grant paid 80% of a public college education. Today, it pays about 35%. When when Bootsy went to high school, my mother-in-law got a GI loan, $300 to go to college. And she got 3 more loans, graduated from college, became a school teacher, grade school teacher, and because she taught Title I kids, poor kids, she had all her loans forgiven. My brother-in-law went in the Coast Guard. Every member of that family became a contributing member of our society, middle class. That's why I'm a Democrat. You know, they tell you in this country you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. First, you have to have the boots. And the government gave my wife's family the boots. And that's why I'm a Democrat.
So, I agree with him on a lot of those points. And when I went to college, Pell Grants were still around. They were still covering a good portion of education. You know? And that wasn't very long ago, actually. I went to college in my 30s. So, you know, yeah, Robert's saying Pell Grants saved my ass. It's, you got to have the boots. All these assholes that say, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, they had boots, they had clothes, they had homes, they had all sorts of shit. They didn't just have boots. They didn't have to do much pulling. Right? Other people, they did. My father got through college and his master's because he served in the military. A lot of people had that GI Bill going on. My brother used it. I mean, we used to have these things in the United States. We used to have a fuckload more of them, a lot more of them. College used to be almost free. And then something happened. Something happened with the next generation of politicians that started getting a lot more greedy. And we got lazy. Anyway, I like what Al has to say about democracy in general. Right? But, yeah, him, I don't know. I'm not so sure about him in general. Overpaid college trustees. There's a lot of that in academia, too. There's a lot of that. But that's a balance, right? I want my academics to be able to do what they want. It shouldn't be about profit. There's just like healthcare shouldn't have to deal with profit, education. Because education, in my mind, is healthcare. If you have an educated human being, they're much more bound to be more conscious of their own health and take care of their shit And that's a cost savings for us across the board. Dumb people injure themselves easier. Ignorant people should say that. I bet you there's a correlation out there. I threw that out there. I have no idea if that's true. True, honestly. Making that shit up. This is a little scary, though. I got to talk about this. And then tell me what people are saying in the audience. Dennis, what are you guys talking about today? We'll talk about we'll go to that in a second. What? You're going to be ready right now?
They're talking about that since Reagan took power, some of our audience members lost their benefits from the GI Bill. So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Therefore, yeah.
That sucks.
Fuck you, Reagan.
Yeah, well, Reagan, such a dick. So the Gazette Times has this giant... Everybody with the ads. You guys were talking about ads. I just want to... So, you don't know my history, but I've been involved in computers for a long time. And web development and the internet. So I'm very familiar with ads and ad blockers and all those things. And I actually think ads are a part of what we should be subjected to on the internet. Right? I'd rather be subjected to ads than be blocked from a site's content because I don't want to pay a subscription. Right? There's a social contract at work here. We're not valued as much as we should be in that contract, right? You know, we use Google. It's pretty much free. I don't pay for any of these sites' content, right? It's free in the terms of I don't send money to them. I don't send money to them, okay?
Okay.
They data mine me. However, that's not a one-way thing. It's recursive. Because if they don't have my data, if they're not looking at where I want to go and the things I talk about and the things that I do, then they wouldn't be able to provide me a better experience on the web. And you guys don't realize it because it's been built into the process for the last decade. I used to be an SEO expert. That was what I did. Was teach companies what SEO was, how it worked, how it functioned on the web. Search engine optimization, which is understanding how Google works, understanding how the search engine works, understanding what Hummingbird is. It's a functional AI that's actually looking at our conversations and delivering to each one of us a preferential view of the web. Doesn't mean we can't go out and find what we want. It just means what we see in front of our face when we go to Google, when we go to Twitter. All of it is different for everyone. None of you see the same content. None of you. We may all see some of the same content, but we all get a different view of the world because Google, Facebook, Twitter, every social entity, but more importantly, Google, which is where we go for the internet, YouTube, 50% of that, it preferentially delivers that content based on your input. And if you didn't allow it to do that, you'd have a much shittier experience. Go back 20 years. I bet you can't even think back about how crappy it was to search for crap on the internet 20 years ago. All right? This is so our data helps make the internet what it is. It also helps provide ads that are relevant, believe it or not. And it's scary how relevant they are. And yes, they've got eye target tracking. They can track your eyes. Okay. It's pretty creepy what they can do. I'm not saying I'm just saying this is a social contract. If we want a better web, it requires our input. Now, what we allow them to do with that input, that's a whole nother question. I can't use ad blockers, folks, because most sites today, 5 years ago, this would not be the case. But today, if you plop an ad blocker on it, then they say, well, then you don't get to look at my motherfucking content. Fuck you. Right? That's how the game plays. So if we want to just look at a big screen that says, turn off your ad blocker to view our content, I could do that, but it would make a really boring media presentation for the Awake Show. I just wanted to talk about that because did not. Oh, you're welcome, Ellis. What are you laughing at, Marcus?
We will never agree in this topic, John.
Okay, well, Germany's in the fucking dark ages with privacy anyway. You guys are like scary Victorian. You wouldn't even allow YouTube in your country until this year. Jesus.
Yeah, they're selling our data. John, the Google users should be paid for giving their data for commercial use and not the other way around. And this fucks me up.
What a crazy idea. What a crazy idea. I wonder how I wonder how we would make something like that happen. How would we change the law? Change the law.
We won't. No chance. Forget it.
No, you think so?
They are exploiting each one who is using Google devices. Each and everyone. They're collecting data and etc. They're selling it. They're selling it to insurance. Just imagine if you're looking up at Google for friends of you get sick, for example. You know, you look it up what his sickness is, and they are checking. Google checks. Oh, he looked this sickness, and then a couple of months later, you will need a healthcare insurance. You get lucky and get the chance for a healthcare insurance, and the company has this database. And they say, Alice, okay, let me see, Alice, John Ellis. He Googled this. We got to be careful about him. Let's make his primes a little bit higher than usual. All this stuff happens. You know, this is no bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, Markus, you're totally right with that.
I'm sure it does. The existing healthcare system, though, is fucked up for bigger reasons.
We're talking not about healthcare system right now. It is about the exploiting of our data, and Google does never lose a word about it. Nor does they pay taxes correctly in their countries where they profit from.
I know they don't.
Fuck Google.
Fuck.
Sorry.
Except without them, we wouldn't be here right now.
Yes, I know, and you know how I hated it to use Google devices. You made me, John. It is you, man.
Jeez.
No, really, I hate Google. Fuck them.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing. It's frightening. But if we want to have control over that, if we want to gain some form of control over it, we have to take back our fucking government. Right? Because we could put laws in place that limit Google. We could do that. We could change the whole paradigm around. We could stop making profit more important than people, which is really what this is about.
Another question: Why, when you leave your house, why don't you leave the doors open? Okay, in the rural area, maybe it would work with your neighbors, but nobody leaves the house and leaves the door open. But they expect us to give them our data without being asked for.
Yeah.
You log into Google and sign a user agreement. When you agree to be on Google, you agree to that exchange. And then there's even a checkbox that says allow Google to collect additional information that you can say, no, I don't want you to collect that additional information.
And then when I say no?
But it's not no for everything, Marcus. That's part of, with YouTube. I signed a terms of service that says I can't afford to build my own YouTube, so I'm going to use yours for free. And in that agreement, I agree to your rules, which basically say you can do whatever the fuck you want because I can't build my own YouTube. And because I want to save the planet, and I need YouTube, and I need Google. And
I know.
You know. Don't be evil. Google's already gone beyond that, Trisha. They're I used to be a huge Google fan. I have a Google shirt. I have a lot of Google stuff because Google sent that stuff to me because I used to do things to promote Google products. I don't do that anymore. I just use them. They use me. I use them. It may be a symbiotic relationship, and it may be one that is contentious, but it's necessary. In other news, racism in small towns. This was in the city of Corvallis. There's several racist things written on sidewalks on the street, chalk. All of them written with correct spelling, which is unusual for racists. Not only that, but Nancy Greenman was over here yesterday, and she showed me a little piece of paper that was stuck on her car. All right, she had her car parked somewhere in Albany, and she has a Bernie sticker on the back of her car. And somebody left a little slip of paper there that said, I noticed you have a Bernie sticker. Were you aware that his wife and him are going down because of the FBI? And I mean, just one of those stupid bullshit. The idiot morons that believe that Bernie and his wife were doing something wrong with and the FBI is looking into it, which was already shown to be a complete hearsay bullshit case. but it's being pursued by Breitbart and other entities and moronic, racist folks who dislike Bernie. Anyway, that was put on her windshield wipers. She showed that to me. I'd be angry. I'd be like, "Where are you, you little fucking coward? Show your face. Let's have a conversation." You know? Just unbelievable. Google is Sauron.
Yeah, John.
That's the eye right there. There's the
good one.
Google's
Exactly.
always watching, folks, and has been since the beginning of this show. You always wondered what that was.
Yeah, just to make sure. Fuck you, Google.
Right. They've heard me say that enough. I really believe one of my YouTube channels was shut down simply because I said "fuck your YouTube" enough. I think that's why PRTV was slapped.
Oh wait, the next one is on me then.
Great. The next channel.
Yeah.
Here's what. What? Go ahead.
I opened a new channel if this is gone because I said "fuck you, Google," and I will pass you the data.
All right, I appreciate that. Here's what I was talking about earlier, guys. Calling for our revolution. And this is calling for Randall Woodfin, but they have calling for Vincent Fort and Elizabeth Guzman and Randall Woodfin. And right now they're working on those three, but anybody can call. And when you click call voters, it takes you over to this, gives you a whole bunch of information, how to get started, calling scripts, step-by-step guide, get your login credentials. This is that badass system that we used during the primaries, and they're opening it up to all of the candidates that we're trying to back. Part of that coalition thing. That's badass. St. John, not ha.
I told you earlier. It's a halo.
Yeah, well. Yeah. My mom's laughing at that right now. Saint. What time are we at? 11:50. I'm not going to play that piece. There's a piece in there by Hassan Piker, who does the work with TYT. And it's on cops. I'm just going to leave it at that. They busted this. The funny part is, the serious part is, it's cops stealing and cops planting evidence, which we know they do all the time. The funny part is that these cops aren't aware that their body cams are picking up them planting the evidence. So you see, that's the best part. The cop plants the evidence, and then the next body cam footage is him finding that evidence. Dumbass cop. That just made me laugh. This is sad. We got sad. No, like sad, really sad. Not Trump sad. Scientists have figured out how much plastic we've made since 1950, and it's not pretty.
No.
8.3 billion metric tons of what they're calling virgin plastics, which just sounds wrong, produced worldwide since 1950. That's as heavy as 25,000 Empire State Buildings or 1 billion elephants, according to BBC. That's actually a picture there of garbage, just plastic bottles in one little tiny place on Earth. I mean, it's we should have done something about that so long ago. Another reason why we have to take back control. And then this is a problem with science. For as much as I love science, you guys are going to be mad at me when I say this. Religion seems to actually work with more renewable stuff. Wood, clay, stone, right? Religion likes those old stuff, cloth, candles, iron, right? Churches aren't generally made of plastic. There's not a lot of church going on, or not a lot of plastic stuff going on in churches, right? Clergymen aren't walking around with plastic Bibles, pulling out their Bible credit card. What?
Las Vegas, maybe.
Maybe in Las Vegas, but really, in religion, it's a lot less plastic. In science, there seems to be a disconnect. If you're in science, it shouldn't really matter what field. You're a scientist, and you should have enough care for the environment as a scientist to not want to make new things that would use more plastic. Don't you think? I mean, Don't you want to live long enough to see your invention happen? Here's scientists creating a robot that is inspired by a vine that can, it's amazing, but it uses the same plastic that it uses for, that we use for shopping bags. And shopping bags in the U.S. are not recyclable. They end up in landfills. They end up making leachate. That's exactly what they make. They make leachate, which is toxic water. Nasty ass toxic water. Millions and millions and millions of gallons of leachate is created every year in the United States in landfills because of shopping plastic bags. And here's scientists are like, we use shopping plastic to make a cool robot. Good idea. Bad use of materials. Come on, scientists. It's neat though, isn't it?
So it basically turns inside out as the material emits from the tip. And that allows us to grow to very long lengths and can follow very convoluted paths through very difficult to reach places. Make it take the shape of an antenna so you can enable communications. We can make it sneak through very small crevices in order to get access to places where people can't go. And also we can deliver material through the center of it, whether it be a sensor or water, for example, to reach a disaster victim.
It's cool. And for medical applications, which shit, there's a ton. I mean, you couldn't even have medicine really without plastic these days. But we know how to make plastics differently. We know how to make plastics out of other materials, like vegetable oils, so that they will biodegrade. We can make forms out of mushroom material. We can make forms out of hemp. There's plastic hemp. There's other materials. There's plant-based plastics that if we were working with them, we could have been refining them by now. What, Marcus?
To me, it makes only sense for usage in surgery, as I showed. You know?
Right, but then again, I mean, it's just like the whole industry, all of science needs to get together with climate science and go, we have to push for the use of different materials.
Exactly. There I agree. And I think it is very, very good, as I said, for surgery purpose, for medicine maybe, but it should not be found in the daily life, you know.
Right.
There we should better alternatives, of course.
Yes. It's agreed. Dennis, what's going on in chat, man?
Yeah, they're discussing different things about plastic at the moment. It's too much to put it in a short sentence. But for example, we in Germany, most of us have their own bags. We are bringing them with us when we are going buying some grocery, so we don't buy that much plastic bags. And in the near future, it will be banned in Germany to. It will not be plastic bags in grocery stores will not be available anymore.
And a lot of shops already replace them.
Yeah,
that's a movement here, but it has definitely not caught on. You know, I've got 30 of those reusable bags in my trunk, because for a while what I did to force myself to learn how to use those was every time I forgot to bring them into the store, I bought more. So now I have like 30 of them. but it's weird. In Corvallis, I can't remember now. I think it's Corvallis at the Safeway. They don't have plastic. You have paper or reusable bags. At the Albany Safeway, you have both choices, and they will go for plastic always. You know, They don't even ask you a question, and it's like, geez. And then sometimes I forget, and they start throwing shit in plastic. I'm like, you know. But I don't even why they can't be banned. The plastics industry, the oil industry, right? In the United States, they have the power, so they're going to make sure shit keeps getting made of plastic. While other nations are forwarding other materials, we're working with oil still. And it just blows. It sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, a lot of you are talking about, I shop with Springfield, I shop with reusable bags. I saw a few other people say I shop with reusable bags. Plastic bags are banned in Corvallis. Thank you, Holly. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And they're talking also about Aldi, our biggest grocery brand here in Germany, is going to America, and they're doing the same concept as here in Germany. So they don't really sell plastic bags so much. So
good.
People who are buying there are forced to bring their own bags.
That's good.
Kat Stefani mentioned it, so I'm totally for it, and I'm happy to hear that. Yeah.
Great. I think that's such a good idea. More overseas stores, European forward-thinking stores coming over here, except for your gun people. Keep your gun people out of here.
Heckler & H&K.
Yes, yes. They're banned anyway. They make bad guns, right? That was that report or whatever that was.
The report I saw was a guy who was very happy with his H&K, and he presented it about for 15 minutes, and I couldn't believe it.
What was that article we covered a while back about H&K in the U.S. and that was a fake press bulletin on something?
No, it was not fake. No, they're building up a manufacturer.
No, I know that. We talked about that they're building a manufacturer in the United States, but there was a fake. Somebody tried to tell them that something was going on. I can't remember what it was. Somebody pulled a prank on H&K, and I can't remember what it was. It was funny though. It was funny. What's Chad saying? What's the name of the German shop? What is the name of your German store?
Aldi. A-L-D-Y.
A-L-D-Y.
Aldi. Yeah, sorry.
All right, thank you. Yeah. So, and you guys were talking about the plastic-eating bug, too, and I think that's great. And that probably developed because of us. You know, the thing is that that's a Band-Aid. I mean, it's great. I'm glad we found it, and we'll probably need to use it, and we'll probably need to grow a gazillion plastic-eating worms to help take care of our problem. But that doesn't mean that we should look at that as an answer. Well, there's a plastic-eating worm. Keep making plastics. Which is exactly what people will do, right? Like
if they can reproduce those bugs big enough, maybe mammoth size or house sized, then I'm quite optimistic that they will handle all this plastic garbage.
Wow, could you imagine that? Like the dune worms, except they're plastic-eating worms.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
Like tarantula in the 40s.
Yes. Plastic-eating bacteria are much more likely. I mean, whatever. It's.
Are they natural or are they created?
No, they're natural. My understanding is that they were found in nature to be doing that.
Yeah. A Spanish scientist found certain bugs or worms, I don't know, and those worms ate the plastic. They were, she discovered it when she found out that all escaped from her plastic bag.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that a lot of you are using renewable bags. Once you get in the habit, it's hard not to. And shit, they hold more. You know, I like them better. Here's your sad science news. We're running late, and then we're going to get to fun stuff. 2017 is so unexpectedly warm, it is freaking out climate scientists. So go back to that New York Post article that we've been talking about for a while, that everybody is still talking about, the Doomsday article. Think about all the people that came out going, oh, we really don't have to worry about anything. And then share them this. Extremely remarkable 2017 heads towards record for hottest year without an El Nino episode. In other words, there were a lot of people saying, well, this was just the last several years were El Nino. That's why it increases rates. And yes, it does. And it did. But 2017 is already at the same pace without it. This is a non-El Nino year. We're not going to see that stop. You guys know this stuff, right? It's going to get really bad. It already is really bad, but it's going to get really bad. We have year-round fire season. California's on fire. and will continue to be on fire. Lots of other places on fire around the world, right? We're not even thinking about what that's doing to the atmosphere right now. Here's the big, I was thinking about this, and I didn't represent this right the other day. When you find out that Lamar Smith, Snowball Lamar Smith, is up there checking out melting ice, then you know something's going on. You know it's on when Lamar Smith is looking at melting ice. That's your doomsday message right there. Somebody tell that to a denier. Lamar Smith is up in Antarctica right now, or Arctic, right, looking at the ice. Oh shit, it's real. That's exactly where they go. Because when Lamar Smith goes, yeah, just saying. Just saying. I was looking at, and here's the weird thing about the changes. Like for us here, I was talking to my neighbor who's lived here 30 years, and I don't really know the seasons or what happens here really. And I said, what is it like, comparatively? How are we doing? She goes, everything, all the growth, like our figs should have been ready by now. I didn't realize that, but the figs are late. And when I think about it, because we moved in on the 25th of July, right? So coming up, figs were already there. We were eating figs, picking figs. They're hard as rocks right now. They're just starting to soften. They're not going to be ready the same time. She says that all the crops she's hearing from all the farmers are a month delayed. It's not because the month of July is that abnormal for us. If you look at the average temperatures, highs and norms, we're pretty much right on target. It's because of the erratic weather that we have had leading up to July. It's because of those crazy heat waves we had, and then the crazy cool down, and the heat wave again, and the cool down that we've had. Plants have no fucking idea what's going on. And we keep looking at, oh, well, what's going on in this instance? It's like, no, look at the cumulative effect on the ecology and what's happening. My fig trees aren't ready. And right now, all that means is a slight delay in harvest, but that's going to have massive effect on food supplies. It already is having massive effect on food supplies. That's scary stuff. Anyway, this is the good news. Elon Musk says he has verbal okay to build a New York to DC Hyperloop so that all the politicians in DC can leave as fast as possible when we come with pitchforks. They're coming. Getting that Hyperloop that Elon built for us to escape. I think that, I hope he builds it. I hope it happens. That would be really fucking cool to have it work somewhere, Why not? Why not? We're almost done. I know it's late. We're almost done. Jeff Sessions recently announced that he was going to go after marijuana more. He's really pushing it. He had a meeting apparently in Colorado with a whole bunch of people. I hope at that meeting they just showed him this, right? Colorado's marijuana tax revenue now exceeds $500 million. I bet Colorado could just fund its own group of mercenaries to keep Jeff and company away. I bet you the growers in Colorado are willing to fund their own mercenaries to keep Jeff and crew away. I hope they do. Because nobody's going to stop me from growing as much weed as I goddamn please on this earth. And Jeff Sessions has no idea what he's touching there. Because you got big profit showing up there, and where there's big profit, there's big power. So thank you, Colorado, for leading the way. Other states, look at that, $500 million. That money has gone towards schools. It's gone towards infrastructure, parks, recreation, all sorts of stuff. Colorado is making itself a better state with cannabis. I couldn't be happier. Rocky Mountain Way. Absolutely. This would be the episode for play the fucking Rocky Mountain Way song, wouldn't it be? Yeah, totally screwed that up because we did that already. Fuck Jeff. Yes, Springfield. I agree wholeheartedly. Fuck Jeff Sessions. Who's going to stay AG because he feels like it. What's going on in chat?
Nothing really important at the moment. Sorry. Sandy is in the chat, and she talked about, on top of that, her husband is injured in the hospital. A tornado in West New York hit her house.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, not good.
Sorry about that, Sandy. And I know there's a GoFundMe. If we can get that link dropped in there to help out Sandy, that would be great. That's crazy to have that much shit just drop down on your life that quick. Tough to deal with. So we're there for you. War on assholes, yes.
When life hits you, it really hits you hard.
It does. It does. I'm sorry about that, Sandy. I know your old trees got ripped. Well, thank you all for being here for another late and weird show. Things are changing. The network's growing. Things are moving around. Schedules are changing. And I appreciate all of you for being here. And I appreciate all of you for what you do to help. You know, whether you're donating your time in Slack or volunteering by sharing on social media or just showing up here in the conversation and being here with us, donating to Patreon or whatever it is. You know, thank you. Because that's what keeps this going. We have to keep going, right? We have to stay unified now that we have a coalition, a rebel alliance, and we have to work towards those goals. And it sucks right now. There's a lot of depressing news. More and more every day seems to be depressing news about ridiculous things. And Trump is a pure distraction. I still use him as a distraction. Sometimes you just need to talk about it for levity's fucking sake. Right? What a horrible, dumb fucking man.
Yeah.
You know, it's sometimes you got to, but remember that you got to. We're going out with a silly song because I just had to, but it has a serious point. This is where we can cross serious with comedy, okay? And I asked Dennis if he knew this history. So I'm going to have Dennis explain to us. Dennis, being, you know, half Turkish, can tell us about when Istanbul became Istanbul, because it used to be Constantinople, if you didn't know that. Dennis, will you please give us the history on that?
So the whole thing was after the Rome Empire. Sorry, after the Rome Empire fall apart, the two rulers decided to split the empire to the West Holy Rome Empire and to the East Holy Rome Empire. So therefore they were Christian. And the east side, the capital of the east side were Constantinople at the time. But after the Ottoman and the Turks and the Muslims took over Constantinople, they named it Istanbul. And since then, it's called Istanbul.
There you go. The lesson there is the people in power get to decide what to call the place. They make the rules.
History.
Right. They write. Yeah. Dennis is saying they write history, which is also true. The whitewashed version of American history that we have is because of the people in power. The white people that were in power are in power, right? But the perfect song for this is Istanbul. They might be giants, which really doesn't explain the history at all. It just says that they did it because they could, which is what we're learning about our government. If we want to make changes, we can. The people in power write the history. Let's write a history for the United States of America and for the world that says, you know, in 2017, the world woke up and decided it was going to do stuff for the people, all of them, and not for profit. And we can even change the name of it. We could change the name of Democratic Party. We could change the name of the country if we wanted to. If we don't want to call it America, we can change that. People in power rewrite history. So, Istanbul. We'll see you all tomorrow. I'm not going to cut out tomorrow. Thank you for being here, and stand strong.
Constantinople, now it's Istanbul. Now Constantinople, been a long time gone. Constantinople, now it's Turkish delight on a moonlit night. Every gal in Constantinople lives in Istanbul. Now Constantinople, so if you've a date in Constantinople, she'll be waiting in Istanbul. Even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way. So take me back to Constantinople. No, you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul. Istanbul. Istanbul, even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it, I can't say. People just liked it better that way. Istanbul was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul. Now Constantinople, been a long time gone. Now Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Constantinople, no you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul.